Welcome to the very first episode of Hoosier Homes and Hustles. I'm Jessica Williams.
And I'm Stacy Preston, and we're both realtors with eXp Realty. We're so excited that you're here, and we're so excited to be here. Whether you're looking to buy your first home, sell your current one, or dive into real estate investing, you've come to the right place.
This show is all about real estate, but not just the basics. We're going to be diving into two areas we're very passionate about, both representing clients in central Indiana and discussing investment opportunities both locally and out of state.
That's right. Whether it's helping someone find their forever home, navigating a tough seller's market, or breaking down what it takes to invest in short-term rentals, midterm rentals, or long-term properties, we're here to share our experiences and insights, and we'll be learning right there along with you because this industry is always changing. But before we jump into all of that, let's talk about why we got into real estate. Jessica, why don't you tell us about your real estate journey?
So for me, let's rewind to 2020. This was a really tough year for a lot of folks, and it was challenging for me as well. But it was a wake-up call. It made me realize that life is too short to not get into something I was either interested in or curious about, either from fear or the assumption that there's always later. So that mindset shift is exactly what I needed to propel me into making that leap into real estate.
Cool.
So our interest initially began back probably about 10 years ago when my husband and I were interested in flipping. And after crunching some numbers, we kind of realized that's going to be more of an expensive hobby than anything else if we didn't approach it wisely. So we instead bought our second home back in 2017 that needed a little bit of love and started what we now know to be called as house hacking by using our primary residence. But fast forward to back to 2020 when I got my real estate license. Honestly, I had no idea if I would be a good realtor or even like it, to be honest. But once I started helping clients navigate the buying and selling process, I realized I had a real passion for the process and the industry. But then I learned about real estate investing, learning about all the different strategies from flips, long-term rentals, short-term rentals, and creative financing. This was a complete game changer because at that point, it wasn't just about helping clients find their dream homes. It was about helping them build wealth and achieving financial independence while doing the same for myself and my family. So here I am a few years into my journey, and I've invested in 3 different markets, both in and out of state, and by managing short-term and midterm rentals, and I'm still learning every single day. But I've seen firsthand how real estate can change lives, and that's why I'm so passionate about Hoosier Homes and Hustles. It's not just about real estate. It's about sharing our wins and sharing what we've learned and working through some of the frustrations,
Right.
while maybe inspiring you to start your journey. So, Stacy, how did your real estate journey begin?
So here's my real estate journey. I actually got into real estate back in 2018 as a second career after spending 12 years in human resources and training in the hospitality industry. My husband and I were at a point that we knew one of us needed to change our career to have a little more flexibility. So we started researching some different business ideas. We actually looked into potentially doing a franchise or a restaurant, and we stumbled upon Bigger Pockets and did some research, and it just looked like a good opportunity for us. So we also read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is a great intro book to real estate investing. And after doing that research, we decided that I would leave my corporate job and manage our real estate investing business. So we found our first home, and after we closed on it, we thought, well, we could probably do this ourselves. And me getting a real estate license seemed to make a lot of sense because then not only do we have the ability to get into the homes quicker if we need to look at them or make an offer on something and just do that ourselves, but also working in the market every day, you are more familiar with it. And I feel like you can make better real estate decisions just having that knowledge.
Absolutely. Pulse on the market.
So it was kind of selfishly, I got my license, but I also found that as I started helping clients, I really didn't feel like a new agent because we had bought and sold so many homes of our own earlier in our marriage. We had several corporate relocations. We bought and sold 5 houses in 7 years. And in each of those were buyer and seller. Some of those were cross-country moves. So I had done it a lot just for ourselves and have been in the shoes of a seller and a buyer and felt like as I started helping clients, like this is just what we had been through ourselves and was a really natural transition. So I thought I'd share a few stories about us and as a buyer and as a seller, and just some of the things you learn even going through that process on your own. So our very first move out of state, we moved from Indianapolis to Dallas, and we had never been to Dallas. It was completely new city for us. We knew nobody there. And we flew there for our home finding trip, and our agent showed us 50 houses in one weekend. So that's insane, right?
50.
50, 25 per day. Looking back on it, it was very overwhelming, but he also did us a favor in that he was showing us different parts of the city. So it was helpful for us to kind of figure out where we wanted to be in Dallas. I don't like shopping. And so I knew which house I wanted by like the fifth one. And I was kind of ready to just throw in the towel and make an offer. But we looked at all of them. We got familiar with the area, and that agent was amazing. He really helped us feel comfortable in our purchase and helped us even get settled in that area. So that was a really great buying experience, even though it was overwhelming being our first out of state move. We really enjoyed working with our realtor in that. So my not so great story was when we moved from Alabama to Indiana. We were selling there, and our home was on the market for over a year, which that was fun. We were renting here in Indianapolis, and finally we get an offer. We were super excited. We found a home in Avon that we wanted to go ahead and buy. So we went under contract on that, and it was supposed to be one of those like back-to-back closings. Well, the week before our Alabama house was going to close, the buyer's financing fell through. There was zero way they could make that purchase work, which meant our purchase here fell through as well. We had to sign another lease and put our home back on the market and wait for all of that to work out. And so that process was very frustrating. And I get really on this side of the seller when things aren't moving, how that feels, how frustrating that can be. But also on the side of the buyer, like sometimes you can't control what's going on and if things fall through. So it was a really good experience that when I have clients going through similar things, I can empathize and understand the stress they're going through and hopefully, be able to help them through that process. So those experiences, I feel like really have allowed me to empathize with my clients and just understand the emotion related to buying and selling a home. I also found that when I started working in real estate, it was a good transition for me going from training into this because as a realtor, I say probably one of the biggest things we do is just educating our clients through the process. Wouldn't you agree with that?
100%.
And most people are only buying or selling maybe a handful of times in their life. Sometimes you have a seller that hasn't sold a house in like 10 or 15 years, and the market really does change in that time frame. So I do like to make sure that they understand the process, and I hope that I make them feel confident and informed so they can make good decisions throughout that. So here I am, almost 7 years later. I love what I do as a realtor. I've had the privilege of helping over 100 clients buy, sell, and invest. And I'm also now licensed both in Indiana and Tennessee and work as a mentor with eXp Realty, where I coach new agents through their first 3 transactions. And then on the investment side of things, my husband and I have invested in long-term rentals and short-term rentals in 2 markets. We work in Indianapolis and Sevierville, Tennessee.
Together, I think we bring a unique perspective. Not only can we speak to the realtor side, we can also speak to the investor side of that equation.
Yeah, absolutely. So why start this show? Real estate can feel overwhelming, whether you're buying your first home or considering an out-of-state investment. We want to break it all down and make it approachable for everybody.
Plus, we're here to bust some myths, share some tips, challenge ourselves a little bit in front of the camera, honestly, and maybe have a little fun along the way.
Because real estate doesn't have to be intimidating. We want to help you find opportunities so that you can make smart moves and create the life you want. So we thought we would talk a little bit about how Jessica and I met. A few years ago, one of my lender partners reached out to me. I was working with her on an investment purchase, and she told me, "You really need to have lunch with Jessica Williams." She mentioned that we were both doing the same thing and that we were partnering with our spouses to invest in real estate while also working as a realtor. We were doing short-term rentals, and she was just like, "I think you'd have a lot in common." So we met and discovered that we were both in the middle of the very beginning stages of our first out-of-state short-term rental purchases. The timing was great because we both had just a lot of anxiety and questions about how you make that happen. And being a self-employed realtor and an investor is lonely. I mean, you don't have employees that work with you. So it's really crucial to make connections with others that are right there with you.
You're right. And it's funny how things work out because we both started at other well known brokerages. But when we met, I was actually in the transition period of
Right.
moving to EXP Realty. And the kicker is that at that lunch is when I received notification that our offer had been accepted on our very first out of state short term rental. And I think that moment was so pivotal for us and including the numerous conversations since talking about investing in real estate, where we realized we had so much to share and learn from each other. And so that's why we decided also, why not create a platform to where we can share those conversations with a broader audience?
Yeah, I remember after that lunch, you called me. I was in the parking lot somewhere still. Like it wasn't that long after we had the lunch, but you telling me your offer had been accepted. And it was just kind of a cool day to see that happen. And then I ended up joining EXP with Jessica because I was also kind of looking at leaving my brokerage. And I feel like we've had a great time at EXP together because we do constantly challenge each other and learn from each other.
This show being a big challenge, by the way.
Obviously.
So here's what you can look forward to in upcoming episodes:
We'll cover everything from local market trends here in central Indiana.
to how we decided to invest in out of state short term rentals and how to analyze those potential investment opportunities.
We'll also share our real life success stories, lessons from deals that didn't go as planned, and actionable tips that you can use right away.
And we hope you become part of the conversation. If you have any questions about buying, selling, or investing, please drop them in the comments and we'll answer them in a future episode.
If you're as excited as we are, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode.
And please don't forget to like this video and share it with anybody looking to get started in real estate.
Welcome to Hoosier Homes and Hustles.
Let's hustle smarter together.
See you next time.